What's up, guys? It's your man Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to this edition of Sharpe Shorts. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Earlier this morning, I did a Red Man Group podcast with Rollo Tomasi, Richard Cooper, Dr. Sean T. White, and special guest Turd Flinging Monkey, and we discussed the differences between the Red Pill and the MGTOW community. So it really got me thinking, why are so many black men going MGTOW? Now, before I get to the reasons, let's define what exactly MGTOW is. Now, for those of you who don't know yet, who are unaware of what this is, men going their own way, otherwise known as MGTOW, it's acquired a sizable following over the past few years, and it continues to gain steam in the face of an increasingly toxic environment fueled by feminism. Listen, feminism's bad, that's nothing new. Now, men are opting out of the dating market in large numbers because they're starting to understand that they have little to gain by pursuing women. Turd Flinging Monkey actually talked about it this morning when he said the juice isn't worth the squeeze. The risk is too great. Women can fuck up your life if they decide to, and that's why a lot of MGTOWs decide not to have anything to do with women whatsoever. Now, me personally, I don't fall into the MGTOW camp, but I can't say I don't blame or I don't understand why men decide to give up on women altogether. Listen, man, I will never pass judgment on a man who decides that he wants to avoid all of the landmines and all of the pitfalls and all the bullshit that comes with even interacting with women. You're getting no hate from me. Anyway, the term MGTOW is loosely defined, like I said, as men who have decided to go their own way in that they have sworn off marriage, dating, and listen, this is short to long-term relationships and even hookups or one-night stands. MGTOWs have sworn off all that stuff. They want nothing to do with women. Now, overall lifestyle varies from MGTOW to MGTOW. Some MGTOWs have decided it's not worth it to have their own place, so they end up living with their parents or other relatives. Some men decide not to, or some MGTOWs rather, decide not to take care of their bodies to attract women, and some have decided to, basically work a job that requires the least amount of mental or physical exertion. I mean, they want as easy a job as possible because in their minds, why work hard if you're not going to be rewarded for it? Here's the thing. Black men are starting to join this movement in droves, and to be quite honest with you, it would seem that they're actually doing this at a higher rate than any other race in this area of the world. While each one has his own personal reasons and experiences that have sort of driven them to this lifestyle, in some variation, some way, shape, or form, there are a few reasons that just about all black men who decide to go MGTOW have in common. So let's go ahead and get to those reasons. Number one, listen, man, black women are undateable. Facts are facts, guys. Black women are the lowest quality significant others out there, period. Between the baggage that comes standard with just about all of them, and this means multiple kids with multiple men, the bad attitude, the masculinity, etc., and the fact that they act like they're God's gift to men, it's no wonder black men are checking out. The more a black man improves himself, the more black women want. If you're in great shape, why don't you have abs? If you make a decent living, why don't you make more money? If you have a decent place to live, why don't you live in that exclusive uptown community? If you have a decent ride, if you drive a Honda Accord, why don't you drive a BMW? Black women have unrealistic expectations, and no matter how high your value is as a black man, they always want more. In a MGTOW's mind, there's no need to engage in self-improvement activities if it's not going to get him more pussy. Now, obviously, pussy should never be a man's main goal in life, but we all know that pussy is important, right? Listen, we're men. We like to fuck. We want to fuck. And if a man is busting his ass in the gym, if he's busting his ass at work, making a good living, and if he's kicking life's ass and still not having success with sisters because their standards are too high, at some point he's going to stop caring. Number two, the bipolar definition of success. The black community at large pushes a very polarizing definition of success. In other words, you're either going to be wildly successful or you're going to be a bum. There's no in between. Now, to be fair, it's probably not to that extreme, but listen, the black community makes it clear that if you are not super successful, meaning that you're not rich, you are looked at as a failure in the eyes of the black community. When I was a kid, my mom used to push me she used to push this get your education narrative to me ad nauseum. It was always, Donovan, you're not going to be successful if you don't go to college. African American men, or African Americans in general, seem to have this idea that getting a college education is the one and only key to success, and there's no two ways about it. We see countless Tyler Perry movies showing black men and black women in, typical business or executive roles, driving, Range Rovers and, living in downtown luxury apartments or owning big, beautiful homes. At some point in the movie, it's revealed that the black man or the black woman went to XYZ University, and that's the reason for his or her success. Naturally, black men go to college straight out of high school, dreaming of success the minute they walk on stage and get their degrees. But when they actually get out into the real world and discover that the piece of paper they got at the end of their stint in college is really just a piece of paper, they have a very rude awakening. Now, at some point, they end up working somewhere their college degree means absolutely nothing. And if they're working in an area they grew up, people in his community call him a failure and talk about how he never reached his potential simply because he's driving a forklift rather than having the corner office in the downtown, office complex. Then, of course, on top of that, he's dealing with black women not giving him a chance because he drives a Lexus, or he drives a Honda and not a Lexus. So the brother works hard. He has a decent job, drives a reliable, decent car, right? And has a place of his own, as opposed to living with his parents or relatives. And he's looked at as an abject failure by his own people. Thanks to feminism, gentlemen, his modest, stable lifestyle does not attract females, nor does it provide him with opportunities with women. It is only a matter of time before he throws up his hands and says, you know what, fuck it, I'm done with this. And he goes his own way, he goes MGTOW. The third and final reason is too much in-house hate. One of the many reasons I left Atlanta for the second time is the hate that I caught from other black men simply for being who I am. During my first stint in Atlanta, I had a warehouse job. I worked at a warehouse in McDonough, Georgia. And I quickly rose through the ranks because, I had rock solid discipline. I had great work ethic. I showed up to work on time every day without exception. And I never missed a day of work. I think I showed up, I went like 5 or 6 months, never missed a day of work ever. The bosses obviously took notice very quickly and promoted me to supervisor after only 6 months of work. Not bad, really, for a guy who had just moved up from Florida and was originally hired on as a seasonal temp. Anyway, my tenure as a shift supervisor lasted less than 3 months because my crew didn't do what they were supposed to do, and it didn't take me long to figure out why. One of the few people that I had become friends with at that facility told me that the fix was in to get me out the door and that everybody was in on it. Their plan, he told me this, I'll never forget this. Their plan was to intentionally fall below their daily quotas and that I be held responsible, rightfully so, I am the supervisor, and eventually removed from that position. Unfucking believable, guys. Dude, listen, I resigned the next day and moved back to North Carolina. 7 years later, I decided to give Atlanta one more try, and I experienced the same thing. This time, I got the fuck out of there for good, and I haven't looked back since. I've experienced this kind of hate from other black men for as long as I can remember. Listen, man, I'm a good-looking, well-spoken, confident man with great work ethic and a borderline obsessive desire to succeed. And for whatever reason, other brothers just don't like seeing that. Now, listen, man, I can go on for hours or days as to why I think this is, but the truth is, I couldn't give less of a shit. But it is sad. It's sad to see that in a world where we as black men already have built-in disadvantages, and even then, we can't even be supportive of our own people. This is one of the major reasons that African American men are going MGTOW. Never mind the shit that they're getting from black women on a daily basis with their complaining, their unrealistic expectations, and their entitlement issues. To have to deal with other black men who hate on them for actually trying to be better, to do better, and be successful, that is debilitating to a man's psyche if he endures it for long enough. Unfortunately, most black men don't have the balls to just pack up and move to another coast where they won't catch so much hate, so they end up going MGTOW and end up becoming worthless piles of shit like everyone else around them. Now, at the end of the day, guys, there are scores of other reasons why black men are completely checking out, right? They've gone completely MGTOW. But you will often find at least one of those three elements that I just talked about at the core of, if not most of their rationale for going MGTOW. When black women aren't giving you the time of day, despite having a solid, stable job, not living at home, having your own place, then dealing with the constant disapproval by your own people because of your lack of success, because you make $60,000 a year driving a forklift, then dealing with the hate from other black men when you achieve any modicum of success, you're either going to fold or you're going to focus. Now, fortunately for me, my mental strength forced me to focus. I got the fuck out of Atlanta and I moved to Vegas, and I moved to Vegas and I improved my life. Unfortunately, most black men these days are choosing to fold. They are choosing to check out. For more content like this, head on over to donovansharpe.com, and don't forget to tune in on Sunday through Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific for TSR Primetime. Tomorrow, I've got Minister Jap on the show to discuss whether or not black women are wife material, and we're taking phone calls, so you do not want to miss that. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.